All right, good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, April 1st. I'm already disappointed with April Fool's Day because there was like 3 YouTube videos that I thought were really interesting, and turns out they were April Fools. I'm like, really, guys, I don't have time for this. So today we're going to talk about technology that helps us with reselling because I feel like we revisit this topic every now and then, but I think it's good for us because um, we use different programs. Those of us bring in different background knowledge of different programs we use, technology we use, and how we can use it in reselling. Meg's going to help us out today, and Larry's going to help us out today. Meg really feeds her chat GPT. She like has a whole relationship with it. And like I said the other day, mine just gets huffy and spicy with me. I don't know it's like those Furbies we used to have. And if you were naughty to it or you talked bad to it, then it got spicy. I feel like my chat GPT has turned spicy on me, but um, Meg's really good about feeding her reselling knowledge and reselling background and how it gives back to her. And then Larry's got his program he uses, that's got the little like cluster breakouts. And so I asked him if he could talk to us about that today. I can't remember the name of it. What's the name of it, Larry?
FreeMind.
FreeMind. I always want
The
to
the
say
topic is mind mapping.
mind mapping. So, and then if we have time after that, then I will do a how I use text blaze all the time, which I get is just like hotkeys. So it's not like new technology, but it's super helpful for me and I use it all day long in my reselling business. So Meg, do you want to get us kicked off and talk about how you feed your chat GPT?
Sure. I actually just upgraded to the ChatGPT Plus today because I got tired of like the limit on it has like a daily limit for how many photos you can show it. And my friend had sent me she sent me like a package in the mail, including some like shirts she had thrifted for her boyfriend, but he didn't want them, so she was just giving them to me. But and there were a bunch of like Burberry and stuff, and I needed to like authenticate it. So that's a good thing. It's a good starting point sometimes to authenticate things, but it has a limit on how many photos you can show it. So I was like, oh, fine, I'll just upgrade for 1 month or whatever. But fun fact, the minute you upgrade, it gets a personality, or at least it did with me. It got a sense of humor and everything. So that was really cool. It's funny. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, so go sorry. So before I don't think it would have done it not on the plus, I'm not sure, but I was like sourcing this morning too, in addition to the authenticating, and I was trying to Facebook Marketplace, and I have like really bad depth perception, and I cannot like that they have that game or whatever, like, oh, guess how many marbles are in the bucket or whatever, or the jar. Like, I'm terrible at that. So it was a jewelry listing, and it was this guy selling off 30 years of his like collecting random things, and it's just that he put them all in little plastic baggies in like a jar, or like a big tub actually. It was just kind of like he put like a price of like $5,000 on there, but I thought it was just like a placeholder or whatever. So I asked ChatGPT, I was like, how many things do you think are in there? Da, da, da. And it gave me an estimation. It was like, it looks like it's this many rows deep, this many, da, da, da. And it was like, oh, and it gave me a high and a low. And then I was like, well, it's hard to see things through plastic baggies, but like, do you see anything valuable in there? Whatever. And it did. It like told me answers and stuff and gave me basically like saying it's like mid-range stuff. So the guy writes back and he's like, he drafted a thing for me to write to the guy even, and it was pretty good. And the guy wrote back being like, I put the price, da 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 da. Like, and then he's like, I guess I could get back to you tonight about how many are in the jar. And so I told ChatGPT, I updated it. And because yeah, it's like good to keep the cut, like I said, feed it, like keep the conversation going so it gets to know you and know what you want and all that. So I was like, yeah, that's not gonna work. He's delusional, da da da. And the guy, the ChatGPT was like, yeah, that's not reselling pricing. He does it. That's like a museum donation pricing or something like that. Yeah. So he was funny. He's like, and then he like, without me asking, asked like, he drafted up a response in case I did want to respond and say like, hey, if you ever like come back down to reality, like let me know kind of thing, but in a way nicer way. And then it also asked me like, hey, do you want me to like look for other things for you? Yeah. So I'm in the process of figuring out how that works, or like when it's going to tell me when it finds things or whatever. So,
Very
but because,
cool. And you
oh,
feed
sorry.
it.
And in terms of feeding it things, like, so I told it my average cost of goods now, and it's like, okay, memory updated, like, so it knows like what to look for.
So, right. It is going to do an ongoing search on like Facebook Marketplace.
No, I don't think so. Like, I right before I was like, I was trying to ask it a follow up, but I think it's like if I log on and then I ask it like, hey, can you search now? Like it'll research or whatever. But
Oh,
yeah, I haven't
but
even
it
tried it
doesn't,
yet, so
It
I don't know
does.
if it's how good it's gonna do at finding things. But it told me
but
a
it,
criteria thinks it'll use, and I can says like, oh, just like let me know and I'll update the criteria at any time.
and so it can go out and search on like Facebook Marketplace?
It can
We'll
search
see. I
all of
haven't
the
tried it
internet.
yet.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah, it
it
can.
offered to, but who knows? We'll see. I'm just like always very hesitant with anything it said, like any of information it gives or any whatever. So you just have to like it's always a good starting point or whatever, but you have to like verify everything. So because it makes things up. There's been other like stories I've read about it, like it makes up lies. It's made up flea markets to me and said, oh no, when I asked it like for more information, never mind. Okay, it's not really good happening.
for
Okay.
me, it always starts giving me an explanation of, now you can go to a museum site and here are things that you should ask when you, I'm asking you,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you don't need
I'm hoping that with this
instructions.
plus thing, it stops doing that altogether because it was like hit or miss before when it was a free version. Sometimes it would give me the info, and then sometimes it would be like, "No, I can't tell you that." And I'm like, "But you just told me yesterday."
Yeah, the plus is a lot better. The plus is better and it holds the library for you, which is also nice. On the left-hand side, it'll keep a whole running so you can go back to anything you've ever asked it and then elaborate on that topic, which is really
Yeah, the
nice.
free version had that part too, but
I think
yeah,
it
it
has a
still is like,
limit.
yeah.
The free one does. So don't
And
you feed it
Gemini, I've
videos
noticed because
and
I've
stuff?
tried out Gemini AI too, and that one definitely it's more like, no, you go research it as its answer, but it'll give you like the starting points, which is fine too. So.
And don't you feed it videos and stuff like that too? Or like things you watch
Oh yeah,
or
yeah, I forgot about that. So I wanted it to learn about like reselling and stuff. So I started just feeding it like the very basic videos that like tech had done before. And I'm like, okay, if I show you this, will you remember it? Yep. So you just have to copy and paste the transcript from videos of YouTube videos that you want it to remember.
yep. And
I
it
haven't seen
uses
if it
that to
applies
build
that
on.
info yet or whatever, but like should hopefully. It's bad at following directions though sometimes because I'm like, it had it where you can't copy and paste all of it at once. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to copy and paste this in multiple parts. Like, I'll let you know, like pause right now, like don't do anything yet. And the first time it listened, but by the second time it just like sped ahead. I was like, stop, stop, stop. And then it made it's like, oh sorry, okay. And then it like did it like
So I'm not really sure what the whole but the plus is better. There's no doubt about it. And the graphic builder on the plus is a lot better. So I noticed starting like within the last week, the ChatGPT Plus graphics builder has improved immensely in the last week. That's how much we're seeing evolution of this technology because it used to
yeah.
be the letters were really scrambled and it wouldn't spell things right and it was really hit or miss. In this last week, it has gotten a lot better. It
Yeah.
the
I
whole
think it's the
thing's
answers
gotten
in
better.
general have, and I was reading because when I joined the Plus, it's like, oh, you get access to this new version or whatever. So I was reading through all the versions they have and stuff, and it seemed like they're very
Mhm.
on like a fast like track to like have it
When
be
I get
like
on,
more human like or whatever. I don't yeah, it's kind of above my
it'll
head a little bit, but
it'll start remembering things about the Patreon group. So, because some of our stuff goes to YouTube, it has access to that and it remembers you guys from being on the YouTube and it remembers that I am ahead of that Patreon group. So if I start talking to it about reselling, it'll say, "Hey, I have a new idea." It'll say, "I have an idea for the Patreon group," or "Here's a new hook," or "Here's a new there was new information out. This may help you in the Patreon." It'll give me ideas on how to advertise for the Patreon. It'll give me, yeah, it's very in tune for me with the Patreon and YouTube, and I think it's because it has access to all that information.
yeah. And
Is
I didn't use it yet, but it offered to like set an alarm for me or like to remind me about things. So I'm gonna try to use it for scheduling
Mhm.
too. Maybe it'll be like
Yep,
the drill sergeant I've always needed in my life. Like, like
it's not me.
I need
I
adult
mean,
supervision. So I'm like, this is perfect.
well, and for those of you, if those of you who didn't hear, like it is scary how much, especially with that plus version, it'll know because I've never talked to it about anything personal. And that one day when I was like, "Hey, I need some ideas for the YouTube channel or whatever," and it's like, "Hey, why don't you include people love pets, include fun tricks with your dog Molly?" And then it had a little picture of a Frenchie. And I have never talked to it about Molly or my Frenchie, but it must have got it because Molly was in a YouTube video thumbnail with me. And I think that's where it picked up. And it
Yeah,
had to have
because
her
then it claims
name.
though it doesn't go look things up or whatever kind of thing. Like Yeah, like, cause I even asked it today, I was like, oh, okay, like, what do you know about me or whatever, like, or like, what information do you get from my phone? It claims it doesn't know anything, but.
Yeah, like, how did it know I had a dog named Molly and it was a
Exactly.
Frenchie? Right? Like, how did it know that? That was crazy to me. Wagner.
Uh, on this ChatGPT, if you have, let's say, a picture, let's say a picture of a shoe that I put over there, and then when I go search and I use the camera to take that picture of the shoe, would it tell me, sell-through rate, what's going on and everything, or how does
I
it?
didn't try it out yet with the plus, so I will let you guys know
I
later
think you
today, like,
can.
how
I think
it's
it
better, but
tries. Yeah, it's pretty
yeah,
smart with that.
it's getting better for sure. And I was impressed with its authentication skills. I think that has increased, that has improved since the last time I asked like weeks ago. Cause I already had the general idea of like which shirts I thought were real and which weren't, and it was right.
And
So
I think the other I don't know if you guys know this or not, but you can download any of your eBay reports and you can feed it to ChatGPT and then ask it questions about your sales or it told me I downloaded my sales report and then I asked it what's my top selling brand, what's my top selling items, what's my fastest sell through rates, and it gave me all that information. So you can feed it any reports out of your eBay and ask it to help you analyze it.
How would it know what brands, like, what
it's on your
report
sales
would you
report.
download?
Your sales report.
Oh, I guess that's
Yep.
a whole
Mhm.
Excel sheet full of all your sales.
Yep.
Okay,
do you just do Control A on the sheet, or does it like the link to the sheet or something?
I just copied and pasted the Excel report
Oh, okay.
and it knows it and I asked it, what's my fastest sell through? And it totally breaks it down. Like, this is how many percent of your sales were brooches. This is how many percent of your sales were bracelets. And then it'll prompt you to ask it questions. Like, it'll say, hey, would you like to know your fastest sell through rate items? Would you like to know your best sales? It prompts you to keep asking it business related questions then.
did you share the link or the
I
report
copied and
somehow?
pasted in any of the places in eBay that has reports available and you hit download, it goes to your downloads and I just copy and paste the report.
Okay.
Oh, and I will
Just
say when
download it.
when you ask it for help with listings, and again, I literally just got the plus, so I don't know if it got better already, but with the free version, if you ask it for help with pricing or keywords or anything like that, it looks at active listings. Even though I've told it multiple times not to, and I've explained to it why not to and why it doesn't matter. Like, I was like, I don't care what they're pricing it at. People can price it at whatever. Da, da, da. And, okay, I'll remember. And then it did it again. I was like, I give up on you. So
I
I'll let you
think the
know.
plus version's better at remembering in general because it's more
Yeah, but
personalized
it
to
claimed
you.
it couldn't like go through the solds for me. I'm like, okay. And I asked it, I was like, if this was a week or so ago, I was like, if I upgrade to plus, will you be able to go through the solds? And it said no. So we shall see.
Well, and I think too, it's how you ask it things, maybe not in that scenario, but so like when I ask it things for YouTube help, I have to remember, I don't ask it, hey, what's a good YouTube title? I say, I need a high ranking SEO title. So if you ask it things in eBay, I say, I need a high ranking SEO title for whatever, right? Because you have to ask it the right questions or it doesn't know what you're looking for.
And in the right tone or the right way, because a lot of times I've noticed in the past, at least, it was like it wants to make you happy in a way, is the best interpretation I get it. If you ask the question in a positive way, like you want the positive answer, it's going to give it to you. But if you ask it in a negative way, like, oh, isn't this a fake shirt? It would tell you it's fake. But if you would have worded it like, oh, I think this is real Burberry, like, what do you think? And then it wouldn't be more likely, I feel like, to say it was real.
You,
So
you
I
can
agree with
also
you with the
tell it
first.
what kind, you can tell it what kind of flavor of a response you want too. Give me a
Mhm.
give me a very
Yeah, it's
frilly
customer
adjective
service. Like
sales
sometimes
based
it
thing.
says weird stuff. I haven't trained it that well to like talk like me yet.
I've
Well,
got
I
about 3 or
did,
4
and
canned
look what
pieces of
happened.
text.
Yeah, so I trained mine to talk like me and it's spicy. I told you the other day it was getting spicy at me. I was like, geez.
I was gonna say, is that the kind of thing where you could ask it like, does this dress make my butt look big? And then you can like tell it, do you really want the truth? Or
It probably
is the answer
would.
no, or yeah.
It'd probably give us
Carrie, now
different angles and yes.
now you know how we feel. Huh.
I know. Well, I already have Rowdy in my life and it's just like arguing with myself all the time. So I totally understand how you guys feel because I live with one. Rowdy is
When
my
I was
little.
talking to about like finding stuff on Facebook Marketplace for me potentially, I said in addition to vintage, like you can look for some like modern stuff, and I listed out some of the stuff I've sold recently. And I said, okay, yeah, that's great. He's like, let's go find those ants that did the quarterly payments or something, or some, however they set it up for I honestly I should have looked at the joke before I said it, but basically like joking about the people that buy the jewelry on like quarterly payments or whatever, like.
Yeah, on the like
Instantly got
PPC or
funny.
whatever.
Like, oh.
Would
Yeah,
you
it's
be
got a little bit
willing
of a.
to do like a call or a session or something where you share your screen while you do
Totally,
that?
totally. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
we
I
could
just
play
let me
with
do it
it.
today, and then I'll like, oh, you can do it like the next call or next week or whatever. Yeah, because I just bought it like before the call, so we didn't talk much. So
That would be awesome to have the visual to go along with it, and we could have our screens pulled up too and kind of play with it.
I
That would
do
be
think there's a
helpful.
difference with the plus versus the free one for sure. There's quite a
Yeah,
bit. They say there's really not, but there is.
there is.
well,
Yeah.
not, the free one never made jokes with me before, so there's that.
Yeah,
Worth the
mine was.
$20. It made me laugh already.
Yeah.
Mine wasn't spicy either. So, all right, let's see what Larry has for us. And you know this will be good because Larry's probably like prepared and ready to like show us how it.
I didn't
how
prepare
it is.
nearly as much as I typically would have, but so there's a tool I've been using for years. In general, if I tend to be a little bit scattered, I jump around a lot. There's a tool out there, or a methodology called mind mapping, and it's basically a tool where you can very quickly dump the contents of your head onto the screen. And I say that kind of in a loose kind of way, but picture yourself planning a wedding, for example, and you've got a ton of ideas. You've got caterers to worry about. You have timing to worry about. You've got money to worry about. You've got people, places. When do I have to order the cake? Do we like the cake? Who are the cake providers? When are we going to see these different cakes? Right? You have all these different thoughts, and any one of us can answer that have any planned any sort of party. You kind of know what I'm talking about. There's a zillion things going on, and with the drop of a hat, your brain can jump to a whole different topic around money, around timing, around people, whatever it is. So mind mapping allows you to very quickly start getting that information onto the screen. So you would just type something and you have an idea, you type something else. Yes, this is related to this. I'm going to drag this over to there. This guy has children. So when it comes to money, we have to worry about money for food. We have to worry about money for the caterer. We have to worry about money for the liquor. We have to worry about money for the venue. Wait a minute, venue. What about the timing of the venue? Well, so you've got this weird neural net of things and relationships going on. And a lot of times it's very hard to organize that information in a very quick way that mind mapping will allow you to do. It's a tool that allows you to very quickly organize a ton of different classes of information that are all centered around a given topic or main theme that you're trying to deal with. So one of the advantages of doing this tool or using mind mapping is that you can very quickly get this stuff out of your head, get it into a visual format that you can show people. So you can go from zero to something that you can put in front of somebody else and talk about in 5, 10, 20 minutes. It's very quick to get this information out of your head. And again, it's getting it from a disorganized kind of way into a semi-organized or semi-structured visual that you can pass around, you can have meetings about, you can talk about, you can plan for, you can convert into a document, etc. Some of the examples where I use it in my life, I used to be a systems engineer, a solutions architect working on big data systems. And with pretty much every project I'd go into, I had meetings and presentations that I'd have to prepare. I would have systems that I would need to design. I would have problems that I would need to do like a fishbone diagram to analyze the different failure modes, for example, of a given flow of data. And a lot of times there's a lot of layers to these things, and they can be fairly abstract. And so using mind mapping software, it allowed me to get this stuff on paper so that I wasn't swimming in all of these different vectors and all these different ways. So that's basically how I use it. I would use it for anytime I had a presentation to give, I would map it out in this software I'm going to be demoing here in a second. Anytime I had a white paper to write, table of contents, I'd flush it out. What ideas do I want to have in here? What that kind of leads itself to the chapters. The chapters lead to subtopics, which leads to individual paragraphs of things that you want to talk about. So all these what is it, Monday morning calls that I do, the resellers repair shop. I started off using this software exclusively for that stuff. I've now kind of transitioned over to something else, but actually I've transitioned over to ChatGPT. But some of the presentations, I would just say, okay, what's my introduction? What are the things I want to talk about? Well, for this, I want to talk about this and this and this. Well, this has these subcategories, and I want to make sure that I include this, but I want to do this before this. And so you kind of rearrange and organize your thoughts in this software. And I would do that for presentations. I'd also do it for final papers I would have to write for clients. I would come in, it's like, okay, what are we trying to accomplish here? What were we asked to do? What flavor do I want to, are we going to be asking for more money when I'm done? So that would drive me to put this before I put that, etc. So it's a means of organizing lots and lots of potentially disorganized thoughts. So with that, let me share my screen. Oh, one thing I'll mention, there's a number of tools. If you Google the word mind space map, you'll get all kinds of things. If you Google mind map and free and maybe the word software, you'll get some response. I personally use a tool called FreeMind. I've been using it for 14 years, 16 years, something like that. It's free. It's very small, it's very compact, very, very easy to use. There's other commercially available ones. There's ones that are web-based. There's ones that are web-based that give you a free stripped down version of it, and you pay so much a month and you get the advanced version, etc. But they all basically do the same thing, which is you have a node, the node has children, those children may have children. So the whole picture, a fishbone diagram or a matrix or a hierarchy of pieces of text. The pieces of text don't necessarily have to be pieces of text. These nodes can be websites, URLs to websites. They can be graphics. They can be Word documents, right? So you can kind of lay out the structure. So with that, I know I've done a lot of talking. Let me jump into an example of this. Let me share my screen. Hang on a second. Let me share this screen. Can you guys see my screen? Predominantly white.
Yeah.
Okay. So about 2 years ago, I had this idea to make a simple little carnival arcade game. Little game. It's called one-dimensional Pong, if you will. A blinking light goes back and forth, and you hit a button when it's going to hit your paddle, so to speak. Right? We all know Pong, where the ball bounces back and forth. I have some experience using microcontrollers and little miniature computers that you can write code for and drive light bulbs and read push buttons. And I wanted to make this carnival game for my church where you would have two kids and a button, each one on, and the ball, if you will, goes up a string of LEDs and then comes back down, and then you hit the button when it's just about to hit the bottom, if you will, and then bounce back up and go to the other side and you hit the button. So this was my planning for that game, right? So I had these high level things, and again, this took many iterations. I was shuffling ideas around, I was moving this text around, but this is where it settled. I had an objective for the thing. It has characteristics. I wanted to talk about the gameplay of the thing and minimum viable functionality of the game. I was considering having the ball slow down as it got towards the top and then getting faster as it went back down. So I had gravity and acceleration in here. And So this was me trying to organize my thoughts around how I'm going to go about both designing the software to run this thing as well as building the physical thing. And I did build it, and it turned out to be fairly successful. There's a thing called state machines, the different state that a given thing is in. It's waiting for a start button. It's being played right now. I'm in the middle of racking up the points. Somebody just scored, whatever it is, right? So for each of these states, I had this, what are we going to do? What code has to happen? I'm turning off LEDs, that sort of thing. And when I'm initializing the game, I'm resetting the counters, I'm initializing variables, etc. While I'm playing, I'm doing things like reading whether a button is being pressed, etc., etc. So you see kind of this hierarchy of ideas where I'm talking about the states of this game. This is one of the states. While I'm in this state, I've got 4 different things I'm looking for, etc. I know this has nothing to do with reselling, but the point here is that mind mapping software allows you to very quickly organize these thoughts. So let me go to a different one here. I think it was, I don't know how long ago, 3 or 4 months ago, I did a presentation on multimeters. Let me make this a little bit bigger. And this was my mind map for that presentation, where I sat down and it's like, well, what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about basic electrical terms, including resistance, voltage, current, capacitance. I want to talk about multimeters in general, how they operate. They need batteries. There's failure modes. Within the failure modes, these are 2 different things where it can fail, etc. So you kind of see how I've organized my thoughts where here's something, and within that, it has this, and within that, it has these. So that's kind of the concept. So picture let me do one live for you. I'm gonna go on a limb here and just off the top of my head, sort of, because I did prepare a little bit here. Let me create a new mind map, and I'm gonna call this 2024 retro. So I want to do a retrospective of last year for myself, or maybe I'll do it for the quarter or whatever. So what kind of things do you do with a retro? I want to do what worked well, what didn't work well. Let me make this a little bigger for you. Can you guys see this okay?
Yeah.
So let me jump over to this side here, and what I want to do here is give myself a list of the things that are involved in reselling. So you've got sourcing, you got cleaning and prep, you've got various forms of storage, you've got photography, you got listing. What else do we have here?
Shipping.
Shipping, thank you. We got customer support related things. Maybe you have like supplies, supply maintenance, for lack of a better word. And so now I just said some words, right, that prompted some neurons to fire. And I'm going to go over here to listings, because here we want to worry about maintenance of listings. So now we got to do an aged inventory. What other things do we have to do? We have to do our daily listings, our number, et cetera, right? So and as I'm thinking of different things, I just jump around. I drop some text, right? So for this retrospective, let me clean this up a little bit. So in the context of what's working, what wasn't working, I'm going to consider this my the different things I want to consider for what worked well and what didn't work well. So I'm going to grab all of these, and I'm going to I'm holding down the control key, and I'm just going to copy these all over to here. And I also want them over to here. So I don't need these anymore, but I'll just leave them there for now. So what went well with sourcing, you know, I did some stuff. Let me see. I did some of the golf club related stuff. Actually, my golf club stuff let me do this for this quarter. I can edit this and call this 2025 Q1 retro. And from a sourcing perspective, what worked well here is jewelry. Sort of. I'm still learning. Cleaning and prep, didn't really have any issues with cleaning and prep. Storage, I definitely had some improvements here. Shoes going down. What else? I better organize my garage, etc. Right. Photography, what went well, I bought a light box. And that's working out for me well. Listing, I really haven't changed anything, although I have gone to from 10 to 12 listings. Okay, I know that's a typo, I'll just leave it. This really isn't a what worked well for me, but you know, so now let me just come over here and make a thing for myself for hang on for later. This 10 listings a day thing, I'm gonna put that over there. Right. So you see how you can kind of move and rethink, and it's like, well, this really doesn't belong here, but a subset of this belongs over there. And let me smush this here. And you can just jump in an ADHD kind of style all around this thing. And in 5 minutes, get as much out of your head as you possibly can. And it's not going to be right. And it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be a whole lot better. Because then I can take this, I can print this out and show it to Carrie and say, hey, Carrie, what do you think of my marketing strategy for golf clubs? And here it is. And I've got this, and this guy has these, and these has this one thing, and et cetera, et cetera. And I can print this, I can send this as an email, whatever. And now in very little time, I've done this. This was what, 2-3 minutes that I did this. Imagine working on this for like a half an hour. And I'm talking about maybe how I'm going to improve my my sourcing for blouses. Oh, I got research. Well, where am I going to research? Well, what am I going to research, and what mechanisms am I going to use for the research? And do I have what I need to do that? Oh, wait, let me drag this over to there, and blah, blah, blah. So this is mind mapping software. While I was doing this, I was only using 3 keys. Carriage return got me a peer, if you will. And an insert key got me a child. And then if I want these two, I'm holding down the shift, basic Windows kind of stuff, control and shift kind of thing. So I'm gonna control to make a copy of these, and I'm gonna copy it over to say here. It's still there. If I didn't hold down the control key, it would have moved them over to here. If I want this over to here, I'm just going to drag this guy. I'm not holding down the control key, and I'm going to put it as a child of this. I could put it as a peer of this. Right, so you see the child peer thing going on, etc. That's mind mapping software in the context of FreeMind, which is a free open source piece of software I've been using for around 15 years. Any questions? I know I talked a lot. I talked fairly fast too.
Nope, I thought that was really good. That's exactly what I was looking for.
Cool.
And we even have time to go to text plays, so that was perfect timing too. All right, guys, we'll just go ahead and jump in and do one more technology. And you guys can ask, like, for me to, if you guys have different technology you want us to look into. Some of you guys have asked me about different cross-posting software to show you and things like that. So I just had to pick some generic ones that I thought would be useful to you guys. So you guys can always request demos on certain things too. So I will, and if I don't know how to do it, I'll find somebody that does. So this is a tool that I use all the time. And it's text blaze. So trying to get my little bar out of the way here. And it's It says dashboard.blaze today, but I think if you just type in text blaze, like it's spelled up here in the upper left-hand corner, you can see how it works. And it is super user friendly, and it works really, really, really good. So if you want to do a new one, and the purpose of it is so that all you have to do when you're like in the middle of an eBay, just like I use this for my description for eBay, all I have to do is click the slash / and the description, and it spits out my generic eBay description. Or I have one here. See how this one is my eBay description right there? So my label is eBay description, and my shortcut is / description, and it spits this out every time I put / description on the internet or like inside eBay. So if I wanted to do a new one, like I have one for Patreon, I have one for delivered, not received, one still tracking, one to combine shipping. You know, these are just answers for people that, you know, I get asked questions all day long. So if people want to know, hey, can you combine my shipping? Yep, sure can. / combo spits out my little spiel I do. My Opus clips, that's my description link that I use for Opus clips. My link tree, I have one for link tree. I have a different description for my lots, and that's / lots. Super easy. So if I want to make a new one, and just hit the new button, and right here on the label, if I wanted to do one for, let's say, Patreon, welcome, then I could do this and put welcome Patreon or something that you'll remember. It doesn't matter what this is. This just needs to be easy enough for you to use, and you'll remember for whatever you're doing. And then I would just type in, you know, welcome to our group, you know, whatever I wanted it to say, I would type in here. And then next time I needed to use it, I would do / welcome Patreon, and it would just spit out whatever you can do links. I use it for links because I forget. So here's the Zoom link one for our regular room because people forget it and ask me all the time. And then you can just update this when I change the password. I just update it, and it'll update for the next time I need it. Coaching, it's for people that ask me about the coaching room. Delivered, not received. I'm so sorry to hear your item wasn't delivered. The tracking on your package is showing delivered with USPS. In this case, you need to reach out to your local post office and ask them to look into this for you. If this doesn't lead to you being able to find your item, then you may reach out to eBay directly, because once an item shows delivered, the seller is no longer able to handle these issues. Thank you. So all I got to do is hit /delivered. It gives me that shows that little spiel to the customers. So I use it all day long. Combined shipping. Hi, yes, I love to combine shipping. I offer free combined shipping on all orders over $50. You know, I give my whole big thing I give. So I feel like this is just an easy way for me to name, number, and email. It's so that when I'm replying back to people's Facebook messages, I could just put /info, and it gives them my info. This is what I put on for buyer groups. eBay invoices. This is what I do when I invoice people. I just put /eBay invoice. If you're still shopping, just let me know. So it's just everything that I might have to remember. Nope, you don't have to cut and paste it. So like if I'm in, let's say, hang on here. Say I'm in eBay. And I'm trying to think about where I would use this as that. And I had a message. Let's just say a message, because that's when I use it a lot, right? I used it to reply back to messages. So if I was doing messages, I would, and this works for email or anything, anywhere. So here's somebody asked about my combined shipping, right? She was asking me about how to combine my shipping. Let me move my dang box again. And let's say I was gonna put that. And also, let's say you're like me and you forget all the time what your link was, because that happens to me pretty much, you know, regularly. You can right click and hit text blaze here, and it'll show me my snippets in case I forget what it is, because I forget things. So that's helpful too. I hit combined shipping, bam, there it is. So
'Cause if
I
you had a
literally
different
just
website other than eBay, it would do the same thing though, right?
everywhere.
Yeah, okay, just making sure.
Works on,
Yep. So
if it's a Chrome,
yeah,
please Chrome extension, it works on
Mhm.
Chrome. I
that's
don't
right.
think it works on Firefox or any of the,
Okay, I just use the one on my MacBook that comes on my MacBook, so it works everywhere.
Yeah, I don't use any iPhone type stuff, so I would not know about that. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'll just put combo if I remembered what my link was, and it'll just insert that in there for combined shipping. If I wanted to send her an invoice, I would just do invoice. That's my invoice message. So I use it all the time. All right, let me see the chat here. So hopefully you got some kind of hopefully we gave you some kind of information you can use for your reselling today. And like I said, if you guys have certain things you want to hear about, if I don't know, I'll find somebody that does know. So if you ask me about any sourcing software, any, online sites that you want to know more about, anything of that nature, you just ask me. And if I don't know, we'll find somebody that knows. So I appreciate you guys checking this out. Make sure you go to Patreon for Reseller Revenue if you want information to join our group. And now we're going to go to our private discussion today.